Indiana Newsdesk is made possible in part by the following. Indiana University's Center for Applied Cybersecurity Research, presenting Security Matters with tips for improving online security in 3 minutes or less. Main Source Bank, headquartered in Greensburg, Indiana, offering products and services to fit every stage of life. More information at mainsourcebank.com. Main Source, life needs a great bank. Member FDIC and equal housing lender.
Smithville Communications, serving Southern Indiana with high-speed fiber gigabit internet. Smithville Fiber Gigabit Technology. Tap the power.
And by WTIU members. Thank you.
Coming up on Indiana Newsdesk. IU Health Bloomington is partnering with Indiana University to build a 75-acre regional health center, all within city limits.
Since our start 110 years ago, healthcare and community needs have continued to change.
Can the medical complex meet patients' ever-changing needs? Despite the cries of construction workers and contractors, lawmakers repeal Indiana's minimum wage on public construction projects. We explain what eliminating the common construction wage could mean for thousands of Indiana construction workers. And a series of photographs from a low-income neighborhood over 25 years provide striking insights. These stories and an update on this week's headlines right now on Indiana Newsdesk. Welcome to Indiana Newsdesk. I'm Joe Wren. IU Health Bloomington surprised many this week when it announced it would build its new hospital on the city's east side near the Indiana University Technology Park. Many Bloomington residents thought the hospital would be built outside city limits on a piece of property IU Health already owns near State Road 37. But hospital officials say partnering with Indiana University was just too good an offer to pass up.
From a 10-bed hospital, we've grown to become the regional referral hospital for IU Health's South Central region.
During an official ceremony Wednesday, the heads of IU and IU Health unveiled plans for the 75-acre health center.
I have the great honor of sharing with you, on behalf of the IU Health Bloomington Hospital Board of Directors, that we will locate the new IU Health Bloomington Hospital on this very site.
The health complex will be located on what is now the IU Golf driving range. The range will be relocated and replace the university's nearby 3-hole course. City leaders are praising that decision.
Having the hospital locate within city limits is important to our community identity. It's a sign that ours is a community in which important institutions invest, in which the welfare of our citizens is tended to, and in which our economy is, in this case in particular, driven by the promotion of quality of life.
The health center will also be along a bus route, which advocacy groups say is key for low-income patients who rely on public transportation. The final design of the health center is still in the works, but IU officials say it will keep up with the increasing demand for medical student training, and it will house a brand new hospital designed with the rapidly changing needs of the healthcare industry in mind.
The building that we're in today was built in the 1960s. Technology, the way we care for patients is a lot different now.
IU health officials say the current hospital on 2nd Street isn't built for the current healthcare landscape. There's less demand for hospital beds, for example, and increasing demand for outpatient care.
In the old days, you might be in the hospital for 2 weeks for a hip replacement. Today, you'll be in the hospital for 2 or 3 days. And there's even some experimentation taking that to an outpatient procedure too. It's the sophistication, the technology, the ability to do good case management to help patients as they transition to the home setting. All these things are affecting that inpatient environment.
That means hospitals need more rooms where they can do quick procedures and labs where they can do follow-up tests or clinical trials. That's also where the university comes in.
He's already told you he's had a couple falls.
These nursing students just finished up a simulation and are discussing how it went. They share this room with medical sciences students. IU Bloomington doesn't have any dedicated nursing classrooms.
We turn away a lot of qualified nursing candidates every year simply because we don't have space to put them, right? So we need more classroom space, we need more lab space, We could use simulation space, all the things that you need to run really robust academic health programs and to allow for academic research or training.
At the new health center, nursing students would have more resources to work with and have dedicated training areas.
It also puts our students, literally next door to the clinicians, the folks who are practicing, and the opportunities that that's going to provide, and the ease with which we're hoping that our students will be able to interact with the doctors and the nurses and folks at the hospital.
But in all the talk of the new center, there is still one major unknown: what will happen to the existing hospital? IU Health and city officials are trying to come up with a reuse plan.
I don't know what this property will become, because that's all part of that process, and whether it's put in place with developments that are more for-profit and therefore taxable entities or not-for-profit. But we'll work closely with the city on that.
Today is the easy part, it's cause for celebration. Now we get to the hard work, and that's going to be the transition away from the existing campus to this location. That'll probably be a 3 to 5 year process, but the work on that has already started.
Mayor Cruzan is enlisting the help of a steering committee that will look into options for the 2nd Street facility. IU officials say they're also aware traffic along the bypass during sports games could cause a problem for the hospital, especially in emergency situations, so they're seeking a solution for that as well. Another major piece of news this week surrounded the common construction wage. The 80-year-old law that sets the kind of minimum wage construction workers can be paid on government-funded projects is being repealed, pending the governor's signature. Gretchen Frazee has more.
Construction sign orange and neon yellow t-shirts painted the lawn of the state capitol Monday as more than 2,000 construction workers and contractors rallied in hopes they could stop lawmakers from repealing the common construction wage.
Enough is enough. Just vote no.
These men and women say the state's common construction wage ensures they earn enough to feed their families, while still paying for out-of-pocket travel expenses they incur while working on projects across the state.
Look around yourselves here. Tell me, who around you here, what construction worker makes too much money? You see any? This is not the problem. This wage is not the problem with our construction industry. It starts right here.
Senator Alting is an A.
Lawmakers who voted 2 days later to eliminate the wage requirement, and the people who asked them to do so, argue allowing the free market to set wages will save taxpayers money.
We believe there will be significant savings, could be 10-20% on public works. Taxpayers should get the same bang for their buck as private work.
What remains to be seen is how that savings is actually achieved.
Right now, the system marks the wages up by about 20%. There's also savings in regards to work jurisdictional rules, which workers can do this or that, the mix of workers on the job from skilled, unskilled, and semi-skilled.
Some supporters of the common wage law predict much of the savings will come from hiring cheaper out-of-state workers who don't abide by Indiana's strict quality and safety guidelines.
When the transient, unskilled construction workers flood our state, which they most certainly will, those folks who have worked so hard to take care of their families here in Indiana will not be able to work on the very projects that they pay for via their taxes.
And if Indiana workers aren't getting paid well to work on projects in their own state, contractors say they won't be able to recruit new workers into the field. And that could lead to a construction labor shortage. An amendment the Senate added to the bill aims to address that problem by putting more resources into construction training programs and marketing the industry to students.
This is a topic that will have consequences for years to come, but as we mentioned, people have very different views about what those consequences are. Indiana Business Research Center Director of Economic Analysis, Tim Slayer, is here to provide us an economist perspective on the matter. Thank you so much for being here today. Let's start with the supporters' argument that repealing this law will save taxpayer money. Will it?
Will it save taxpayers money?
Yeah.
I think that would be undetermined, because I think there's a new provision in it where they have E-Verify. You have to remember that the thing really driving construction costs and many of the wages is illegal immigration. And if you stop cash payments and E-Verify, you might find that it's actually a net benefit to many of the labor occupations on a construction site.
When we start talking about perhaps saving some of this money, exactly how much are we talking about in terms of state and local governments?
There could be about 10 to 12%. Some studies at Oregon State University was almost even 35% savings as a result, or additional costs as a result of Davis-Bacon, or the prevailing wage. There was a brief period of time in Florida back in the 70s where they exempted school construction from those provisions, and they estimated they saved about 13 to 15% as a result of that.
So some cities are strapped for money, and I talked with Mayor Cruzan from Bloomington earlier this week about this, and he quoted several other mayors as well who were opposing this legislation, which at first you would think would be the opposite. But why are there opponents against repealing this measure?
I can't speak for the mayor. I do know that there are certain political alignments related to certain politicians and labor unions, and the labor unions don't feel as though this is a good deal for them. As if you were saving that much money, where does that money necessarily come from? Well, it may come indeed from certain paychecks. So that is an issue, and some of the supporters, and this might be one of their more legitimate arguments, in terms of the apprenticeships and all the rest of it, in terms of the training, there wouldn't be a natural mechanism for that without, say, establishing other programs, without those additional funds going to the unions and their apprenticeship programs.
And that's what he was talking about, the lack of quality protections or labor shortage. Is that a possibility?
Well, you say labor shortage in construction. Can you tell me what labor shortage at a hospital looks like? You've got surgeons, you've got nurses, you've got orderlies, custodians, people. There may be a shortage in one element of that, but in terms across the board, no, there wouldn't be. In the lower skilled, you're going to see that there's no shortage there whatsoever. Would there be a shortage in terms of crane operators or electricians, steam fitters? Quite possibly. But that is the market does work, and if you remunerate those people well enough, it makes all the sense in the world to get the training that you need to get in order to be a steam fitter or an electrician.
Thank you very much for being here today. Appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
And now for headlines, we go over to Alex Dirkman, who has the latest on this week's top stories.
Thank you, Joe. Health officials in Scott County say they've handed out more than 5,000 needles as part of a month-long needle exchange program. It's one of the ways they're combating a growing HIV outbreak in southern Indiana, where 130 people have tested positive, including 24 new cases in the past week. Health officials say they're trying to get the word out that those who participate in the needle exchange program won't be prosecuted.
There's lots of rumors that have been out, like we have the police waiting on them, that we're getting information that we can track them, which is absolutely false. Even some absurd things like we have video cameras up videoing them, which we don't. It's all, I mean, we don't even get their name, their address. We don't even get information to where we could track them if we wanted to.
Doctors and nurses are going door to door in Scott County to get people signed up for the needle exchange. They're also offering free HIV testing and counseling throughout Scott County. Nearly 600 more 4-year-olds will be able to participate in the state's pre-K pilot program this fall. The new spots are being created because nonprofits such as United Way and the Lilly Endowment are giving away more than $435,000 more dollars in grants. This will allow local providers to serve approximately 2,000 kids during the full launch of the program in August. The additional spots will be distributed proportionally among Allen, Jackson, Lake, Marion, and Vanderburgh counties, the 5 counties that were chosen for the pilot. Angie's List CEO and co-founder Bill Osterly is resigning after working at the company for 20 years. He says he wants to get back into state politics and help repair the state's image in the fallout from the Religious Freedom Restoration Act, a measure he opposed. Osterly is a former campaign manager for Mitch Daniels. This time around, Osterly says he could help run another campaign, or he might become a candidate himself. A state agency is also taking steps to improve Indiana's reputation after RFRA. The Indiana Economic Development Corporation is hiring the public relations firm Porter Novelli, which has represented a wide range of well-known customers, including Walt Disney, HP, and UPS. The state is expected to spend at least $2 million with the company. A close vote in the House this week means Glenda Ritz will likely lose her place as the chair of State Board of Education. Lawmakers approved a bill that would allow the State Board of Education to choose its own chair instead of automatically making the state superintendent the chair. The bill also adds 2 more board members, although that number could change as legislators work out a few differences between the Senate and House versions of the bill. Interstate I-69 can now run on top of the existing State Road 37 if the State Department of Transportation chooses to take the route. Lawmakers are repealing a previous law that barred I-69 from going through Perry Township just south of Indianapolis. State representatives from that area didn't want to force residents and businesses to move. An INDOT spokesman says that doesn't mean I-69 will be built along 37. The department plans to make a decision after an environmental impact study is complete. The Senate has once again shot down a bill regulating Indiana's high-fence deer hunting preserves. This year's legislation would have limited the industry to the 4 existing preserves, required yearly inspections, and mandated that only deer born and raised in Indiana can be hunted on the preserves. The bill is officially dead this session, but the state's hunting preserves can continue operating, pending the outcome of a separate lawsuit that could allow the Department of Natural Resources to regulate the preserves or shut them down completely. Indiana running back Tevin Coleman, who has been dealing with an injury, is looking good as he shows off his skills to NFL talent scouts. Coleman couldn't fully participate in the February NFL scouting combine because of a broken toe, so Indiana Pro Day was a chance for him to show scouts he's recovered. NFL.com reports Coleman ran a 40-yard dash in 4.39 seconds, faster than any other running back managed in the combine. So Joe, based on that performance, it looks like things are looking pretty good for him.
And he ran some running back routes as well, and good for him. We'll see how it turns out. Thanks a lot, Alex.
Yes.
Coming up next on Indiana Newsdesk. Indiana firefighters are getting the statewide training academy they've long been asking for. Advocates say it will provide much-needed resources and teach departments how to work together in emergency situations. But how much will it cost? Photos of the same people taking 2 decades apart reveal the hardships of a hidden low-income community. You might be surprised which city they live in. We'll talk to the photographer behind the lens. All this right here on Indiana Newsdesk.
We are a nation of explorers. We seek new ways of living, of thinking, and of expressing ourselves. We take risks, we learn from experience, and we keep moving forward. That's why we encourage and celebrate the explorer in all of us.
The fact that PBS is the most trusted media outlet in the country means a great deal to me. We live now in the most multicultural, multiracial, multi-ethnic America ever. There are a lot of voices in this country that need to be heard. I think that my job is to help Americans re-examine the assumptions that they hold, to expand their inventory of ideas, and hopefully to introduce Americans to each other. And we take that challenge seriously every day.
Welcome back to Indiana Newsdesk. Aspiring police officers go through a unified training program at the State Police Academy. They all learn the same skills. But for firefighters, there's no centralized training, so the process is inconsistent and costly. Indiana is searching for a fix, and as Barbara Harrington reports, that task falls to legislators who are working to design the program and come up with a way to pay for it.
At a training facility in Terre Haute, firefighters are taking turns teaching a high-rise operations class.
How to fight fires in them, how to set up from anywhere from hooking the fire engine up to the fire department connections, to stretching hose lines and nozzle control and hydraulics.
Once they complete the training, they'll be certified to teach other firefighters classes that prepare them for the unpredictable calls they respond to every day.
You never know what kind of a situation you're going to get into, and you try to train for everything.
But that can be difficult for smaller volunteer departments that operate on bare bones budgets. For them, the cost of training new recruits is often out of reach.
I think the larger paid departments here in Central Indiana do a great job of training, but some of them just can't afford a whole training academy. Some of the smaller paid departments across the state might have 1 or 2 people they hire a year, where an IFD might have 40. And so to do a training academy for 1 or 2 people is very difficult, where with 30 or 20 or 40 even firefighters, it's much easier.
A bill legislators are considering would create a centralized fire academy. Currently, firefighter training is done regionally. Under the new law, those regional facilities would still be used, but instructors would teach from the same curriculum.
Our goal is to have standardized training across the state, where a firefighter from northern Indiana and a firefighter from central Indiana would have the same training and testing as is done by the curriculum established by the state.
Departments would also have the option of sending their firefighters to the academy for training and continuing education. There, they could take more specialized courses.
Individuals aspire and become fire chiefs or administrators, and they may never have worked with the city budget. Well, where do they learn that? This academy will create that environment for them to come, a place for them to come and learn about government, human relations issues, ADA, all kinds of things that our people in the fire service need.
But there are still a lot of questions about what a centralized fire academy would look like and how much it will cost. Some funding for training comes from a fee on fireworks sales, but developing curriculum and building the academy, that won't be cheap.
There may be some fees. We still haven't decided that. But we do know that it can't be much, especially for those departments that are on such a limited income.
Once we really have the concept and the location and all laid out, we'll come back probably in a couple years to General Assembly and have that conversation on what are the final needs.
Back in Terre Haute, the fire department's excited by the possibility of a centralized academy. Kane says giving all departments access to top-notch training facilities will benefit the entire state.
There's about 100 firefighters, approximately 100 firefighters that die every year, 60 to 100,000 injuries. So it's a tremendous amount. If it was any other industry, they'd shut us down. I think it's been good for the state. It's going to be really good. Have that consistency that we need. I'm sure they'll have top-notch instructors. They have a tremendous amount of experience they can share, so it will benefit.
The bill now heads to Governor Mike Pence's desk. Bloomington photographer Jeffrey Woolen took a series of photos 25 years ago of people living in the low-income Bloomington neighborhood of Pigeon Hill that's on the city's northwest side. The black and white photos are telling in themselves, but what's even more interesting is what Woolen found 2 decades later when he went back. He photographed the same people and put those photos side by side. Woolen's work is being displayed in the Pictura Gallery in Bloomington this week, and he joins us now. Thanks for being here. For those not familiar, that area is just across from Tri-North Middle School near 11th and Vernal Pike, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's less than a mile from campus.
And something had a trigger that you were going to do this. What inspired you to go over there and get those photos?
Initially, when I moved to Bloomington, and I'm a photography professor here, I was exploring the area, with my camera, and I did a book with Scott Sanders in the English department on the limestone industry called Stone Country. I met people who were living out in the country, and there were people, real Hoosiers that I had never encountered before, and they were fascinating and they were wonderful storytellers. A murder occurred. A student from IU was killed over on Pigeon Hill in 1986. Her name was Ellen Marks, and when she was murdered, of course, in our paper, the local paper on the front page, it covered the news for weeks and weeks, and they finally captured the murderer, and he went to trial and so on. That piqued my interest, and I wanted to go over there, and there was so much in those days about crime and poverty and welfare reform in that time period. It's what brought me there to begin with.
So it took you there, but what surprised you then once you went there and discovered that area?
Well, of course, I was nervous about going over there. There was so much crime and violence and all of that over there, or so I thought. So I took one of my undergraduate students with me, who was like 6'3", 250 pounds, to watch my back. I found out very shortly that I needed no such protection, that I was totally safe, that it was a wonderful neighborhood.
So then what made you go back recently?
I went back. So I photographed for 4 years and then for a variety of reasons stopped photographing. I got a Guggenheim Fellowship at that time to finish the project, but I didn't finish the project at that time. Instead, other series occupied my time for the next 20 years. There was another murder involving somebody from Pigeon Hill. A woman named Crystal Grubb was missing, and then they found her body in a cornfield north of town. And they ran her picture in the newspaper, and I immediately recognized her as one of the kids that I'd photographed. And that really got me thinking, I really wanted to go back and do something with all these wonderful portraits from 2 decades earlier. What would it be? This brought me back. I was curious about what happened to everybody else.
Well, they're amazing display, and they'll be up there at Pictura Gallery for a little while longer.
And at Monroe County History Center as well.
Okay. Thank you very much for being here today.
My
Appreciate
pleasure.
it. Great story. That's the end of this program, but before we go, we want to remind you to tune in to our Democratic Bloomington mayoral debate that will be held right here in the WTIU studios next Thursday at 8. You can find out more or watch the debate online at WTIUnews.org. Have a great weekend.
Indiana Newsdesk is made possible in part by the following. Indiana University's Center for Applied Cybersecurity Research, presenting Security Matters, with tips for improving online security in 3 minutes or less. Main Source Bank, headquartered in Greensburg, Indiana, offering products and services to fit every stage of life. More information at mainsourcebank.com. Main Source, life needs a great bank. Member FDIC and equal housing lender.
Smithville Communications, serving Southern Indiana with high-speed fiber gigabit internet. Smithville Fiber Gigabit Technology. Tap the power.
And by WTIU members. Thank you.